Hey everybody, I'm Katrina. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the Clash of Champions WWE pay-per-view from last night. So first up, I want to talk about the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. It was Lucha Party versus Sasuke Nakamura and Cesaro. The match was pretty good. The Lucha Bros are pretty much high-flying stuff, and Cesaro and Nakamura are really slow-paced. So the match was really solid to kick off the pay-per-view. And if you haven't known, Nakamura and Cesaro did keep and retain their SmackDown Tag Team Championships, but it was a really nice set off for the beginning of the pay-per-view for a kickoff show. I'm always a little iffy when certain, I get it. This is the pay-per-view that everybody has to defend their championships. So it's one of those scenarios where you're just like, oh, okay. I guess kickoff always feels like a demotion to me when somebody's in a kickoff show. But either way, it was a really, really good way to start off the kickoff show. Next, I'm going to talk about the Intercontinental Championship, which was Jeff Hardy, who was champion, versus Sami Zayn versus AJ Styles. This was a really, really, really good match. I was very entertained. All three of the men put their hearts out there in the ring. Jeff Hardy's always with the shenanigans. And listen, I was like watching the match, and then Jeff Hardy did some malarkey off the ladder, and I was just like, Jeff, did we not discuss this? Like, you're supposed to hear my mind say, bro, don't do shenanigans. He did shenanigans anyway. So it was at one point where Jeff had a lot of handcuff to his ear, which made me cringe, but it was so freaking epic because Jeff Hardy is the goat of high flying. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to debate me about that. Don't debate me. Jeff Hardy's everything. And it was just I feel like whenever Jeff Hardy decides to retire and you just put alone, just off ladder matches alone, Jeff Hardy's career is fantastic. But you could just highlight all the crazy spots he's done in ladder matches and it will be gold. Jeff Hardy is that dude. But anyway, Sami Zayn did wind up becoming the undisputed Intercontinental Champion. I was really hoping that Jeff Hardy kept it a little longer, but I'm okay with the win. Then we had the 24/7 championship. Earlier, R-Truth was walking by backstage, and Drew Gulak pinned him really quickly, won the title. A little later on, while Drew was talking about winning the title, R-Truth being R-Truth quickly pinned him and won the title back. It was very quick. Wasn't anything like too extra. It just happened during the pay-per-view. But I thought, R-Truth is, for me, he's one of the best parts of wrestling right now because he's always just doing stuff and he's himself. And I appreciate that. So that was that for, the 24/7 championship. Next, I'm talking about the World's Women's Championship with Asuka versus Zelina. Asuka is freaking amazing. I feel like Asuka is definitely one of the best women wrestlers in the business. Zelina Vega, did her thing. Like, obviously, I feel like she does need a little bit more work as far as being a little more toned up in the ring. But Zelina knows how to sell. Zelina has a great mouth. She's a good mouthpiece. She was for Andrade and Angel Garza. So it was a good match. For what we're working with, I wasn't sure why they did Zelina because there was no build up for Zelina versus Asuka, but Asuka's Asuka. So of course Asuka did beat her by submission, as she should have. But it was a pretty solid match. I wouldn't say it was like the best match of the night because it wasn't, but it was very solid. So I was okay with it. Next up, I'm talking about Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews. It was also a solid match. I believed Bobby Lashley would keep it. Otherwise, why have them do all of this back and forth for all these weeks? There's been a couple of pay-per-views already where the two of them went head-to-head. So Bobby Lashley finally got it at the last pay-per-view. It made no sense to have him lose it back to Apollo Crews because now you're going to play hot potato with the title. We don't need to do that. So it was a solid match. Apollo Crews did start off really strong, but Bobby Lashley, being very dominant right now, and he's part of the Hurt Business, and the Hurt Business is super, extremely dominant. So it was really, really cool, just have some solidness about the pay-per-view. Like, it wasn't like mind-blowing match, but it was solid. So, cool beans. Next up, talking about the Raw Tag Team Championship, the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza. I thought this match was also pretty solid. I felt like it was really nice that after Zelina Vega left them, Andrade and Angel Garza are saying, we don't need you, Zelina, we can work together. And while, one, they were matching, which I thought was cool that they're finally back into the matching gear with, their trunks and Andrade with his pants. I thought it was cool to have them look like they were in unison. The Street Profits and Street Profits, I love Montez Ford. I think Montez Ford is one of the most athletically gifted wrestlers there, and he's also very entertaining. So it seemed at some point Angel Garza did get hurt during the match. Um, I mean, from what I saw this morning, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a really bad injury where he'll be out for a while, but I was okay with the match. I think the referee at some point tried to signal that there was an injury, but it kind of got ignored, so he had to call it early. So it was a really awkward type of finish. But it was a solid match. You know, obviously I feel like the Street Profits and the Andrade and Angel Garza had better matches, but it was nice to see that Andrade and Angel Garza are finally on the same page, and they don't really need Selena to kind of hold them together. Before they were like the glue holding them together. So it was really cool for me to kind of like see that between the two of them, and they still able to, you know, work together. Hopefully, you know, as I do love the Street Profits, but I'm assuming the only reason why WWE keeps making the opponents be Andrade and Angel Garza is to eventually give them the belts, unless they do the whole another draft is coming up, unless they switch them to Raw. Excuse me, so let's say mix Andrade and Angel Garza to SmackDown. I feel like at some point they're trying to give Andrade and Angel Garza the tag team belts from Raw. So we'll see how that goes. Next, I'm talking about the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley was originally supposed to go against Nikki Cross, but Nikki Cross, for some reason, they didn't really speculate, but it was under the impression that there might have been some kind of contact she had with somebody with COVID. So to be safe, they took her away from the pay-per-view. So Bayley was, you know, talking a lot of nonsense. She got in the ring with the chair she beat up Sasha with, and she kind of did an open challenge. And who comes up but, you know, the queen herself, Asuka. And Asuka, you know, I even watching it yesterday, I was just like, you know what, Asuka, you are really doing the damn thing. Like, you just had a match, and here you go, ready to save the women's division right now with this, because we need the championship match to be defended. So it looked like Asuka was going to kick Bayley's ass until Bayley started doing things and got disqualified. So obviously Bayley kept her belt, and Asuka could have been Asuka 2 belts, which would have been kind of dope. But I just was very glad that Asuka was ready to step up and do what she needed to do. And Bayley, and then Sasha came out, and there was a thing between her and Sasha. And Sasha kind of got some payback. She beat up Bayley with some kendo sticks. And I was like, we know that we're going to get the Sasha Banks versus Bayley match again. Sasha probably will win it. I'm not sure, because we never know with WWE. Sometimes we're going to get it at this year, or probably they're going to move it over to have it for next year. But it was pretty solid. And again, Asuka is Asuka. So I thought it was pretty good for what we were getting, you know? I am talking about Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton in the ambulance match. The goal is to get your opponent in the back of the ambulance and close both doors for the bell to ring. This was pretty decent. It wasn't bad. It was a lot of back and forth. You know, Randy Orton has a very, very slow style of wrestling, and Drew McIntyre, at one point, I thought he was really hurt. He kept holding his knee, and it kind of like bothered me. But we got some kind of appearances for some people. So we saw Big Show, we saw Christian, we saw Ric Flair, who drove the ambulance at the end of the match before I get there, and then we saw Shawn Michaels. So I feel like everybody that Randy Orton has done something to leading up to the whole him with Drew thing, and Drew kind of felt like he had to step in for the legends. They kind of helped Drew in this one and made sure that Randy Orton did get, you know, what he deserved from everything he's been doing for the last couple of months. So by the end of the match, you know, Drew got Randy at the back, and I thought he was going to put him in right away, and then he kind of did a punt kick, which I think he missed. For me, it seemed like he totally missed the kick, but Randy Orton still sold it, and I was just like, oh, all right, this is what we're doing, WWE. But I feel like it's only because Drew McIntyre seemed like he was really hurt. So anyway, Drew McIntyre obviously retained and kept his belt, but it was a solid match. I felt like, you know, it wasn't what it should have been for a championship match as far as one of the main titles of Raw, but it wasn't bad. I'm assuming that means maybe it will be done with Drew and Randy, and now Drew can go on to somebody else, and maybe Randy would take a break for a while, or he'll come back and have another feud. I'm not sure, because, you know, except I thought Randy was doing his best work this whole time, as I've said in other videos and on when I've appeared on UPR, that I felt like Randy Orton was doing some of his best work as heel work. So don't know. I feel like Randy's going to be off for a while, and then he'll come back with some other storyline, and is allowing Drew to move on to go with somebody else. Next up, I'm getting into the WWE Universal Championship, which is part of SmackDown, which is Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. I thought this was a really, really good, like, storytelling. You showed the videos and pictures when they were children. They were doing football together, hanging out together, family, oos, all that good stuff. And I thought it was a really nice build-up, you know, like, Jay and Jimmy are twins, and they were saying like Roman Reigns was always the better one, always the stronger one, whatever the case may be. So I thought it was nice to have Rikishi talk and have Roman's dad talk and other family members. I thought it was really cool to like now with like Jay, it's like it's my time to bring some happiness and pride to our family. I thought that was a really nice way to get like emotionally invested. Jay also comes out first, and then we get Roman Reigns with no shirt on. And I just need to pause for a second because I had a really crazy week last week. So it was very nice to end the week off with Roman Reigns looking fine and like, who with no shirt on. Like, it was just like the universe was like, you know what, Katrina, you had a tough week. Here's my gift to you. And he gave me Roman Reigns with no shirt. It was amazing. I was just like very happy. You know, Roman was talking real spicy, talking a lot of shit out loud to Jay, to Paul Heyman, to the referee. At one point, I thought he was going to slap up the referee. And I was like, oh, okay, Roman, like, don't got to be so harsh, but also, yes, like, yes. Okay, he was telling Jay Uso, he was like, acknowledge me. And in my head, I was just like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm acknowledging you. Because, like, just give me a moment, you know, like. Anyway, I thought it was really good storytelling throughout the match. It was very slow paced. Roman pretty much kicked Jay's ass. I was like, well, goddamn, Jay. Like, I feel like him and Jimmy are one of the best tag teams ever, personally. So it was kind of funny to see Roman really kicking his ass. So I was just like, okay, bro. And there were times when Jay Uso got some, you know, he got his energy up, got the adrenaline going, and he got some hits in there. Where I was like, okay, Roman, he letting you know we're not gonna do this. But Roman pretty much kicked his ass the whole time. He was like, acknowledge who I am, acknowledge that I'm the best, I'm the, you know, the chief of everything. And I'm just like, that's right, bro. You speak it, you speak it. And then I thought the part that like I did like crack up a bit because it reminded me way too much of Rocky 4. Now, I always tell people, like I'm gonna tell you guys now, Rocky 4 was basically very sad because what happened to Apollo Creed. I was like, Apollo Creed was talking all this crap like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, show I still got it. And then Iron Drago killed him and caused him to die in the middle of the ring. And I was just like, wait, but oh, he just had a whole number with James Brown. He had a whole number with James Brown. And then he dies. So it's very sad. So it was cool to see Jimmy come out with the white towel hobbling with the leg injury. And he coming in there like, yo, I'm about to throw the towel in, Oos. We don't need to prove nothing to this fool. We don't need to prove nothing to the universe. And I'm like, I mean, you don't, because I think you guys are great, but it was really like emotional, and I felt Michael Cole really sold it when he was like, Jimmy, throw in the towel. It made me think of Tony from Rocky 4, Apollo's trainer. He was just like, it sold it. And then when he got in there, he was like, I acknowledge you, Roman. He holding Jay's head in his lap again, like Apollo Creed was in Rocky's lap. And I was just like, you guys, like, okay, like that's what we doing. And it's made me feel like in the heart right now. I felt it in my heart, but I also laughed because I was like, bro, this is what we doing right now. And like Roman standing over freaking Jay, like freaking Armin Drago, like, well, I did kick your ass, and like if he dies, he dies. And I was just like, oh, this what we doing today. This what we doing today. So it was really funny. It was honestly the best part of the whole pay-per-view. Shirtless Roman, yes. But then, like I said, it was really, really good storytelling, and you can play with this so many ways because, you know, their family has been in wrestling and WWE for so long that there are so many ways you can spin this. I love Roman Reigns anyway, but I'm a really big fan of heel Roman Reigns. Like I said, he was talking real spicy, and I was just like, you talk all that spice, bro? You talk all that spice? I'm watching you like... Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I just, you know, how I feel about Roman Reigns. But anyway, it was pretty decent pay-per-view. Like I said, the very last match was the best match in my opinion. You guys tell me in the comments how you felt about Clash of Champions. How do you feel about Shirtless Roman? How do you feel about his heel turn? How do you feel like the match was? Or any of the matches on the card in the comments. I look forward to reading them. Again, thank you so much for always hanging out with me and watching the videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you later, guys. Bye.